My name is Virtual. I am the CEO of Masters of Materium, and we're back, and we're going to dive straight into the new AMA that covers all of the amazing things coming up in the playtests, which should happen in March 2023, maybe early April if they missed their deadlines, which happens. But let's get right into it, Grill. Show us some of the goods.
Oh, what would you like to start with here? You want to do the paper doll? You want to talk about the crafting?
Paper doll. Yeah, paper doll.
All right, pull up the paper doll first. There you go.
So with the paper doll, just covering some of the basic things, we see 3 weapon slots. We're going to have gear, obviously main armor, gloves, and boots. 25 slots for the backpack. Very curious. Alem, do you think the backpack is going to have a weight limit? And do you think that some items will grab multiple slots in the backpack?
So on the playtest, no, I don't. In the actual game, most definitely. And at least on previous paper dolls, the backpack also had 4 additional pouches. This paper doll also seems to be kind of playtest specific because there's no charm slots, there's no ring slots, etc.
One thing that's interesting as well is on the left corner, you'll see says level 75 and defense 8 with what looks like a lightning bolt. So assuming that the level is the mastery, defense is how tough you are. Any speculation or thoughts on the lightning bolt? Is that just part of the defense or that's something else? Thoughts, guys?
It doesn't make sense for defense. First off, because he has no armor actually equipped. If you look in the gear, they're all grayed out, right? Unless the sword itself is giving him some defense, which I guess is possible. But no, I suspect that's an error, and it should be actually energy related as well.
Very excited to see the mastery menu, which nothing was really revealed about that last night, but I'm excited about that. Let's go to the next one.
Well, we should talk about the words, right? The phrase.
Yeah. Do we have that Easter egg loaded?
Yeah, I got the translation here with the actual Easter egg itself. Unfortunately, I cannot read Latin.
Go ahead, Ilham. Give us the breakdown here.
I'll read the English. My Latin for pronunciation isn't all that great either. But in the previous slide in the bottom right, there was a Latin description. And the translation states, the real problem is that it's going to be difficult to achieve the goal, but it's just a matter of time. And I'm assuming that's the, completion of the in-game quest / killing of the zone boss or what have you.
Great find, by the way. Love it. Next.
Oh, should we do crafting or do like a little combat?
Yeah, let's take a look at combat.
Combat. All right, so we'll do the video, a little clip of the video here first. We'll get rid of this. Add this to the stream. All right, so I'm going to play this now.
Stuff in there right now. They can kill you. They do lots of damage. We have different skills per NPC, so we have different attacks from different ranges and all that good stuff. And we have some logic in there for keeping NPCs separated from each other, so they try not to clump up and they try to.
So they confirmed last night that if you die, you're dead. That's an exact quote from McCarthy. But yeah, what they mean is if you die, you will restart. So that's going to be a really cool challenge. Also, 3 levels of bows. And I think the main strategy to do well in this playtest is going to be to load up on resources, do a ton of crafting, and try to become as powerful as possible, move with a good team, a good guild like Masters of Materium, like Mom, so join us, and then go accomplish the mission. Ellen, what was your thoughts on the wolf attack and just the whole combat in general?
The actual attack animations kind of remind me of Valheim. Is very, very similar. With that said, the hitbox, like your own personal hitbox, seems like very, very large. Like in the bottom left corner, you could see their health bar, and some of the times where it looks like the wolf attacking wasn't anywhere near you, the person was taking damage. And the final, killing blow, the wolf is nowhere really near the person. We're talking probably, 5 meters or so away. And then after the the player dies, the wolf kind of like just does like a drift. He just kind of slides without moving their limbs at all to the right of the screen, which obviously needs to be improved upon.
Yeah, it looked weird to me. Like at first when I saw the video last night, I'm like, did he kill the wolf? And then it showed that no, he died. So yeah, I agree. I think a lot of the graphics looked amazing, but the wolf animation was a little rough. But that's stuff they can tune later. I have no doubt it's going to continue to improve. Grill, what was your thoughts on that?
Pretty similar. It does again kind of remind me of Valheim. If you played Valheim, you see that occasionally, even in that game, which is finished and polished up, that some of the combat can be a little janky looking. Same thing, right? You'd see it attack, and sometimes it would be close, you take no damage, and then there was another time where the wolf was far attacking, and then all of a sudden the damage would happen, a second later. Like Alan said, there's time for them to fix this, and I think you'll see a big improvement down the road.
Yeah, keep in mind that this is true for all games, especially I think in the Web3 space. When they show you footage, it's always 2, 3, 4, 5, even sometimes 6 months behind, meaning that they're just showing you things that they might have filmed weeks or months ago. The other thing too is like tuning is an endless thing. I've played like betas of all kinds of games, and the difference even between a beta, and I'm talking AAA studios that have worked on a game for years, sometimes it's just night and day, the difference between the beta and the actual game. So yeah, not concerned at all about this.
All right, we'll go through them doing the harvesting, and then we'll show the crafting.
I think we've got a little bit of a thing of that. There's things in the world that you are going to want and need to collect to survive and to craft in better and better gear and equipment. So here we're showing pine, we're showing flax, wheat. You'll be able to collect that stuff. That'll be in your inventory, and you will be able to craft that into superior things. One thing that is not in the demo, which just is going to take another few more months to really get right, is state changes for these objects.
First of all, I think the graphics of the farming looks awesome. I really like the look and feel of that. Elam, thoughts on just collecting resources?
Yeah, so first off, I agree with your assessment of the farming. That looks very, very polished, especially compared to some of the other screens and stuff we're seeing. When he's looting that item, it says, item name. So obviously that needs to be updated. There's like no textures on the ground whatsoever. It's all just flat. I'm a little disappointed that they're not actually having interactions with the tools. Like playtest 3, you had your sickle, or you had your axe to chop down trees, etc. So the fact that you're just interacting with something and you're seeing a little circular progress bar, and then you wait some time for it to refresh or whatever, is a little disappointing from my perspective.
Grill?
Yeah, I mean, agreed. Farming looks great. Love the way the plants look, the way they sway in the breeze. It's like I've said to you in the past, in a way, this game almost looks like a painting, and this is almost like a painting kind of come to life now, especially with the farming. I would have also liked to have seen like playtest 3 with chopping down trees or working the farm, maybe some other kind of animations involved instead of just clicking to collect. It feels almost like a bit of a letdown.
One thing we glossed over that they covered last night is proximity chat, which is going to be awesome. So as you get closer to other players, you'll be able to hear them, but also creatures will be able to hear you. So that's going to be really interesting from a strategic standpoint. Do you want them to come towards you? If so, well, speak loudly, trash talk. And if you want to be stealth, then you probably have to be quiet. Or I'm assuming that you'll be able to connect via Discord or something else, and you bypass the in-game audio. I'm not sure that's going to be the case, but probably some workarounds around that. Elam, any thoughts on that?
Yeah, that's the first thing that crossed my mind. Like, if we're in a group together, are we going to be using the in-game voice so that they hear us? Not likely, right? Unless it's to our advantage, like we want to scare them away or something of that nature. But no, we're probably going to be on voice via some sort of third-party app like Discord or what have you.
Grill, any thoughts on proximity chat? Are you excited to trash talk?
Oh, definitely want to trash talk some NPCs. I can see maybe be an advantage if you have a large, strong group. You don't want to roam around too much. Bring them to you. Other than that, I think Discord is the way we'll be communicating with each other in game 99% of the time.
Alum, do you have a good moose call? Because my family on my mother's side, they're all hunters, and obviously I grew up watching them do moose calls. I wonder if you can do wolf calls and howl in the wild and attract the animals. But
no, I have a goose call, like the actual device to call geese. Something actually just crossed my mind. Let's say there was like a non-guild member trying to say hunt a deer or something, and they can hear you. You might want to actually like scream really loud or something to scare the deer away.
Or scream really loud so the wolves come and attack them. Awesome. Next, Grill.
Well, let's take a look at the crafting.
Yeah, so this is definitely exciting.
We now have crafting, guys. You can walk up to some of our little 5x5 stands and tents, and there'll be different things that you can craft. You can upgrade your armor. You can upgrade, get a superior bow. You can, as you push deeper in the world, collect more resources that are just plain harder to get and be able to craft better swords and weaponry. I think for this demo, Brigandine armor is the best that we're going to have. But, a lot to stand up here, right?
Thoughts on the crafting, Ilum?
So crafting is certainly one of my biggest interests for sure. Crafting system in general at this point seems fairly basic. With that said, there are quite a few different materials and some cross profession crafting as well. Like you take your farm materials, the flax, you turn it into linen thread. Use that linen thread in what they're calling the clothery, which is actually a cloth stand, the 5x5. And you can make a set of armor with that, and also you can take that linen and use it for the bows, which I'm assuming would be the bow strings of all the different levels of bows. So I do like that cross profession crafting. Allows for a lot of additional trade, more complexity. The other thing with the slides that I was noticing, a few little things actually. One is everything is called elf something. So I'm wondering if the player was playing as an elf and that it's coming up for them based on that, or if it's all just, elf quality or elf designed or whatever. The other thing you're noticing there on this particular slide that's up on the screen is that the padded boots on the right, it says elf padded gloves, and the padded glove says elf padded boots. So I'm not sure which one is actually accurate. We did a tabulation of all the specific resources, and in that particular tabulation, I used the stuff that's not colored just because I had to, pick which one. So in terms of like the total resources, the only base materials that we know for sure are the flax and linen. And probably to start you off, you're going to need a good 32 flax. That's for your full set of padded armor and then your short bow. And eventually you'll probably want to upgrade that, short bow to a long bow or the champion bow. And then you'll probably want to upgrade your arrows from the small arrow to the true arrow, and probably throw in a melee weapon or two and maybe a shield even. So you're likely going to interact with all the different types of crafting in this playtest, which I think is pretty good. I'm certainly interested in that.
By the way, if you want access to this sheet, go to mastersofmaterium.com. Then click on show the guild assets, click that link, and you can see this along with all kinds of other interesting information. Grill, thoughts on the crafting and all the resources you're going to have to acquire?
Yeah, looks pretty good. It's a little basic for now. I kind of like the little crafting. I think the little fire in the forge was cute. I'm guessing some of these resources will be rare and harder to find on the playtest. That'll definitely make things a little bit more interesting.
So one thing to note is mining is confirmed for this playtest, right? I mean, the iron, first of all, I think the iron obviously should be a mined resource. The charcoal, I'm wondering if you're going to have to burn wood to get that. Any thoughts on that?
If it's similar to Valheim, then that's exactly how it worked. There would be kilns, and you'd add wood, and it would spit out charcoal.
And then I was Googling pole material this morning. All I found was stripper content. So I don't have goblin stripper are confirmed, but yeah, probably just basically a pole for the weapons and things. So, one thing that you guys mentioned on some of our previous shows was the fact that the outfitter and the weavers are going to be very busy. And I think we're already seeing some strong evidence of that with the linen threads, which will be used to craft all kinds of things. And yeah, this is a really interesting question, Ilham, around the exemplar. It is confirmed that you will be able to play as any exemplar. And I'm wondering if there's going to be different hit points and defense points based on the exemplars. I'm assuming not. I'm figuring it's going to be, everybody's going to have the same base stats. But any thoughts on that? Do you think they're going to give elves a bigger buff than a human, for example?
I would like them to. I don't think they will. And also, Manny in Discord specifically said that none of the actual exemplar, special abilities will be active. I was kind of hoping that at least the Dark Sun's, special ability would be active. But no, it seems like it's probably just cosmetic at the present, which would be the same as the way it was in playtest 2 and playtest 3, where having the different exemplars at that time simply, showed that you looked like that particular race, but didn't provide any additional benefits.
I'm assuming the lantern will be usable. So if somebody owns a lantern, you should be able to use it, right?
Yeah, they had the lanterns and the Ring of Discord in playtest 4, and that's using the same general engine and stuff that they're using now. So I don't see any reason particularly why both of those would not be active.
One question that's come up is torches, and a lot of people are theorizing that, of course, you'll be able to build torches and use them, but you'll lose one hand. So in combat, you would probably hold a torch, maybe right or left hand, and only be able to use another hand for the weapon. So that would be obviously very limiting compared to holding a weapon and a shield. So that's probably going to be the big difference between torches and lanterns. Any thoughts on that, guys?
Yeah, so with regards to torches, again, I'm compared to Valheim just because the game is very similar. In Valheim, a torch does use a hand. However, it's also a weapon, so you can light mobs on fire with the torch, and it lights things up, etc. So it might have some actual utility beyond just, lighting up your surroundings.
Awesome. Next.
Next. We have a couple of screenshots. We got this mysterious door.
Is that a portal?
Everything's a portal.
Definitely a portal.
Yeah. This is, I think, where when they did the video, kind of that commercial 3-minute video they released a few months ago, this looks very similar to kind of that goblin stronghold or whatever. Seems like that's the spot.
Little zoomed in picture of it. Something's going on inside that door. I'm not sure what though.
It's the Olympic gold medal for racing to the entrance.
Does look like a gold medal.
101 an NFT if you can grab it first.
Exactly. A couple of things. You got this tent, which is a little lacking in texture, but it's still kind of cool to see anyway.
Probably crafting going on in there.
Or maybe something involving the pole. And then last but not least, well, there's still one more thing after this, but we'll talk about the weapons a bit.
So this to me was my personal favorite new reveal, which is that weapons are going to have special abilities. You can see the one on the left has 5 slots. The one on the middle has 3. The one on the right has 2. It is confirmed ancients are going to have 5. So I'm assuming that ancients are going to have 5, legendaries 4, epics 3, rares 2, uncommon 1, and common 0. So you could still use it as a weapon. You're just not going to be able to add any special abilities. Looking at those icons, it looks like they're just different types of attacks from, looks like a flaming attack, which has been confirmed for a long time that attacks are going to be NFTs, probably findable, in the loot and probably tradable, which is really cool. So you can see also that there's a left click mouse, right mouse click, QER. So you'll be able to cycle through different types of attacks, which is interesting. And is any thoughts on this, Helen?
So in a previous video, they mentioned you saw someone with a dagger. I'm assuming it was a halfling, and they had a slash attack and a stab attack. So I suspect you're going to see those kind of attacks, and you'll probably maybe see like an AoE attack, and probably something similar to a light melee attack versus like a heavy melee attack as well. Maybe even some potential parrying. So lots of potential options there. I agree. This is probably one of the biggest reveals in this this fireside chat. It's not something I actually expected to see, and I do like it though. So this is going to add for a lot of additional gameplay. So let's say you have 3 different weapons. Each one has a maximum of 5 different attacks. So at any point in time, just through a hotkey switch, you're talking 15 different potential attacks. That gives a lot of combat versatility.
Do you guys think that, let's talk about attacking creatures or just creatures in general? Couple questions. One, do you think they're going to have very precise hit boxes? For an example, the head would cause more damage than the body. Second question is, do you think that they're going to tune these attacks for each creature, meaning that a certain attack or a certain weapon would cause more damage than another? Grill, thoughts on this?
Yeah, they could give the creatures, armor classes or some kind of defensive rating, which would, plus or minus your damage. They could also have certain weaknesses, like maybe something wears leather armor, and it's so because it's weaker to pierce for something that wears, maybe like metal armor, where you might need a blunt weapon to do more damage to it.
Ilum, thoughts?
Yeah, so certainly resistances and stuff, I could see them bringing that into effect.
Yeah, so that's pretty exciting. And again, what's really exciting is that all of these different abilities are going to be tradable NFTs. So all kinds of economic opportunities for people that find them and might not want to use them. They can sell them, which is awesome. Next.
Last but not least, this time for real, we have tavern games.
Yeah, so basically every 6 hours, you're going to have the ability to get these various copper grants if you log in, I'm assuming. So you're probably going to have to log in every 6 hours to get these. So you can see here that everybody's going to get 30 coppers every 6 hours. If you own a Ring of Discord, you get 10. If you own a Mirandus Vox, you get 10. Exemplar, 15. Cruel Fate finally has some utility, 10. If you own 500 Materium, you get 10. A little bit of utility from Materium, which is great. Building Owner, 10. And Deed Owner, 10. Ilum, are you pumped to dominate the taverns again?
Well, I have pretty much all that stuff on the list, so I'll certainly be a pretty strong force there. This is the first time that they're actually giving building owners or deed owners any kind of utility whatsoever. And although the utility is pretty minimal, honestly, it's nice to see that it was considered at least.
I agree. Ilum, thoughts?
Yeah, it was nice to be, even though it's 10 copper for my Archduke, I'll take it.
Yeah, we got to buy those ponytails and goatees, Next.
A couple more things. They introduced a little new look on the dice. I think they look pretty good.
That skull dice is money.
Yeah, totally.
That's the Captain Nero dice.
Greatest pirate ever. So this I'm excited. So just a quick note. I played competitive poker. I've won tournaments. Not saying I'm the greatest poker player on the planet, because I'm not, but excited to put my skills to the test against other Mirandians. It's going to be exciting.
Yeah, looks like a game of Hold'em. 2 cards, right, and then 5 on the board.
I gotta say the graphics look awesome. I really like the card designs, and they're continuing to tweak the tables as well. So this I'm a lot more excited than the dice, that's for sure.
Yeah, this looks quite a bit better. And then finally, there was a little concept art for the taverns themselves.
I mean, it's definitely going to be cool when you can walk in a tavern and kind of move around and sit at a table. I think the immersion of that's going to be a whole new level. But yeah, Alan, thoughts on the graphics and the style they're going for?
Well, I think they stole it from iDesign, like that. The actual tavern where the barkeep is, it looks exactly like mine in the fireplace with the the head over the top and stuff.
Are you secretly a Gal employee?
You never know. Also, I was talking about kind of the cards and stuff. They did mention that they're going to consider a potential 1-of-1 NFT from killing the zone boss, and that one NFT would potentially be a card from the Wheel of Fate series. So it'd be kind of interesting if they go with that.
Yeah, if you watch one of the older AMAs, I think it was on Jake's channel, they showed that they're developing basically a card game, not a poker card game, but a game where it looked like Battleship, where you're calling things out, and all of these cards, the Goblin card, the Cruel Faith, will have some utility, and I'm assuming there'll be a bunch of other cards. So yeah, I think they're going to continue developing several different types of tavern games, which will be fun. People can find the game that excites them. Anything else, Grill?
That's really it. Just to add, you mentioned walking around. I think that goes for the whole game in itself, and everyone's pretty excited to get in there and actually start playing the game. I think this is the first time it's actually going to feel like a game, not so much like a playtest. Obviously, there's some things that they're not super polished and will feel a little rough, but I'm excited to actually play Mirandus this time.
Exactly. Ilum, are you excited for the playtest?
Yeah, by far. So I was probably most excited for the December 2021 playtest, just because we didn't have really any idea how far along it was, and that was kind of the first big time. And tended to be a little bit of a disappointment, given it was mostly a single player experience. My kind of perception is that this is like a rehash of the December 2021 playtest, but the only difference is now it's actual multiplayer and feel like a real game. So yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to it.
Unfortunately, nothing was confirmed with Materium grants. So again, for those of you that are new, in previous playtests, you would get Materium for each exemplar that you owned. It sounds like they're talking to their legal, and legal is exploring what viable and not. They did say that they're going to be tracking different things. So tracking the first person to achieve certain things, the people that hit the highest totals for certain things, and then people that accomplish unique tasks. So it's possible that those top earners or top players for those three things will get something. But right now we're in the dark, unfortunately. Dylan, any thoughts on what you're expecting on the Materium side?
So I do expect they pay out Materium like for those tasks that you mentioned on the leaderboard, and that's what they did with the tavern test. Although the total Materium distribution, I suspect, will be considerably less than the total amounts. Like they were giving out, 7 to 9 million Materium per test before, based on exemplars. I suspect this time the total quantity would be significantly less and much more widely distributed, as opposed to someone like myself getting multiple percent of the entire pool, which is a little disappointing from my perspective. But if that's the way it is, I hope it's based on your skill and that it remains competitive and makes the play test as good as possible.
Well, that's it. And it's been confirmed that your odds of survival in this playtest are close to zero if you're playing solo. So if you want to join the greatest, the biggest, the most powerful guild in Mirandus, make sure you check us out, mastersofmaterium.com. Very simple to join us. Just hit our Discord, message Elam your wallet address, and you're in. That's it. We are wide open for everybody, from people that literally own nothing to owning one exemplar to owning deeds. Of course, we're well known as a food guild, but if you check out our deeds or our assets, we're dominant in all kinds of asset classes. So check us out, join us. We're excited to see you and excited to play with you. Grill, any final thoughts?
Had fun doing another video. Excited about the playtest, and that's about it.
Close us out, Elam. Say something wise.
Wise words of wisdom. Well, just my suggestion is, if you're wanting to be, try to get those first to kill the boss or whatever, that you're going to need to be well planned and group up with some people that are close to you and see what you got on you.
Awesome. Thanks for listening.